Recording. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, because Pool Plato Some Tango is taking on Complexity. What map are they going to, Kevin?
We're going to Tomb of the Spider Queen.
No Battlefield of Eternity. Yes. Yeah. I think we're on the same page on that one. Looks like they are going to be starting these picks and bans, but game one of the best of three. This is kind of a big point for Pool Plato Some Tangos. It looks like they also get first pick, first ban.
They do, and on this map, banning out Kerrigan like they just did is a very good call. You know, also on Battlefield of Eternity, but also on this map, Kerrigan is one of those really, really high priority picks or bans just because of her incredible initiation during team fights.
Now, at the same time, Complexity is saying, okay, well, we don't got first pick. You do not get a Zeratul. You do not pass go. You do not collect $200. So first pick up here from PPST, if it's not, so they have 3 picks total. This should probably be a Jaina right here. And if Complexity is not going to snipe out the Johanna Asmoden, that's probably a big ticket item, not only for Complexity, but as well with PPST if they can get to it.
I was going to say Sylvanas is also another big priority ticket here in this map, just because if you get to sit behind the web weavers as they spawn, they do so much more damage. That's just the power of Sylvanas. She makes the map objectives on most maps that much stronger. Not only this, but Guard of Terror, Haunted Mines, etc., etc., etc. She's so good here. She's a good solo pickup. She doesn't really require a lot of synergy. Complexity, on the other hand, picking up Jaina Johanna.
Yeah, it's a smart pickup on Johanna. They didn't pick up the Asmodan, but this is going to force a ban from PPST into the Asmodan if they are not going to pick it up here. We do traditionally see the Johanna, Jaina, Asmodan Dream Team combo, especially on Tomb of the Spider Queen. The stacking game is just really favorable for stacking up the Orbs of Annihilation. So if Pool Plato Some Tangos do not take an Asmodan here, they're very likely to ban it.
And that's, again, a really good call, because if you have Johanna and Jaina sitting on that team, ooh, man, is it so easy for Asmodan to pick up all those stacks very quickly. And, you know, we always see on this map the ability for Asmodan to sit either mid or walk back and forth between lanes to just pick up so many stacks so quickly that it becomes an absolute nightmare going on into the mid game. Kael'thas getting picked up here by PPST.
I would expect a support to come out, and it's actually going to be the Mirrodin. I would not have really prioritized Mirrodin to be this round pickup. I would have actually expected to see that as the last round. Because Complexity is going to get first pick out of these next bans, and they still need a support. So Complexity could actually ban out a support and then take a support, and that's just kind of leaving us to the sloppy seconds for PPST.
That's true. They could ban out a Rhaegar, pick up a Malfurion, or go for the Uther. The Uther would also be another good pickup. We saw last game they went for the double support. I'm curious to see if they're going to follow that same method again going on into this one, because I feel like it worked out really well for them. Tomb of the Spider Queen, however, is not a huge sustained map like Battlefield of Eternity, so they ban out the Uther, which is smart, which means that later on they could really go ham and snipe out either the Kael'thas or the Sylvanas in the back line. I'm curious to see who they're going to pick up here. Ooh, PPST knocks out that Asmodan, given that Jaina and Johanna are already there. It's exactly what we were predicting.
It's pretty much so far so good in terms of the predictions. Now, Complexity have an open book here. They can't go for the Asmodan into the Johanna combo, and Sylvanas Kael'thas are out. We might see a melee coming into this. Illidan is still ready to go. Very likely, though, you're going to see a support pick up here, if not both supports. And that would leave Pool Plato Some Tangos into either a Lily or a Brightwing, but I would actually expect to see Complexity with a Malfurion here.
They go for a Rhaegar.
They do.
Again, Rhaegar, he's a very, very good pickup nowadays, just because if at level 7 you feel like you need a little bit more vision, Farsight's available. You also have Cleanse available if you start seeing something like a Muradin Tyrande. Tyrande is actually a very big possibility here, because PPST already has that Muradin.
All right, I was going to say, you know, Zagara, really strong on the map, good creep vision. You can reset the fight with the Maw, great duelist as well. Complexity picks it up, so they're not going to go into that melee by the end of it. Not entirely too sure what that flex pick will be. Could be a Tastar at the end of it, but this is where Pool Plato Some Tangos, you know, Uther's out, Rhaegar's down. This is going to be a Malfurion, but what do they want to fill for the last slot? Vala, Falstad are the only other ranged DPS that are kind of viable right now.
Again, they can still pick up something crazy like a Tyrande and then also pick up the Malfurion.
Yep.
That would allow them to really knock out somebody very quickly. We see the Malfurion already. It could be, of course, also the False Side. False Side's a great pickup. You did make a great point there.
The global part of it, though, is like a little bit more diminished because it's a smaller map.
Right.
So would they? So if they are going to go for a Falstad, it would have to be a Hinterland's Kael'thas blow-up comp.
Now, Vala, of course, also you were saying before, is a very good option. Maybe something even crazier than that if they really want to go for range damage. They already have a good amount. They go for Tazadar, which is interesting. I would have imagined a Tyrande would have been fit a little bit better, but Oracle gives you a really good vision on the map, and they're going to have to combat that Zagara putting creep everywhere.
I think this is a steal. I think Complexity was really setting up for the task, to be honest. But, you know, cool Plato, they're going to take it. That's good for them. It is the double support that you were calling for. It wasn't quite the Tyrande, but still. I mean, that's a very survivable comp between the Malfurion, Tass, and Mirrodin. So, Complexity. What? Yeah, okay, it's going to be the other one.
Yeah, they go for the Tyrande.
So we were expecting these heroes just on the flip side of
it. Right.
And, you know, Complexity, they showed us the worth first time. They're going to show us, hopefully, the worth second.
All right, so I'm going to just get into the lobby and I'll invite you as well, my good friend. Oh, you're already in here. Look at that.
I beat you to it.
10 steps ahead of me. And by 10, I mean 1. Same thing.
FourCourtJester, 4 steps ahead.
Ooh.
I like that, personally. Yep. So, yeah. Gonna give a quick shout out to the chat. You guys are awesome. 300 viewers here for a fairly unannounced stream. You know, big hello to the Kubi as well. Good to see you out and about, sir. Happy, what is it? Happy Independence Day. That's what it is for you guys, right?
Wow. Come on, Canada.
Well, hey, I can't say Happy America Day.
Yeah,
we kept it pretty easy. Happy
we call
Canada Day.
We normally just say
Canada.
Happy July 4th. But
is it just Happy July 4th these days?
For the most part.
You don't care about your independence? Whatever. Land of the free, land of the brave.
That's what they tell me.
So it looks like it will be Complexity not on red. It will be Complexity on blue. So my overlay had that correct. The Heroes Draft didn't. But let's talk a little bit more about Zagara Tyrande. That's a lot of information control available to Complexity.
Well, actually, what's also really good about Zagara Tyrande, you get a Maw, the Maw pops open, bam, Lunar Flare.
Or vice versa, Lunar Flare sets up for the Maw.
Yeah.
Yep. Either way.
Either way, you get a pretty good setup into doing a lot of damage, and with the rest of their team, I feel like they could do some pretty good damage. They have the Jaina just waiting outside of that as well. They can set up so many different AoE things coming out of the Maw. And then, of course, just the sustained damage from Zagara already is going to be absolutely ridiculous, as well as the pushing. So they have a very, very solid synergy between their composition. However, at the same time, look at Tazadar. Tazadar gives vision for those flame strikes from prismaticism to be able to land them across walls, etc., because there's so many different ways and areas that you can hide in this map.
Well, as we said, you know, information control is going to be great. We have a lot of it from both sides, and as we jump into game number 1, Tomb of the Spider Queen is going to be usually a lot of bloodshed. But we have seen actually things slow down a little bit with the Azmodan comps, but with no Azmodan here, are we going to see any roaming, Kev?
Oh, I definitely think we're going to be seeing just a little bit of roaming. I don't think it's going to be too ridiculous. We don't have any melee assassins on either side, but they do have a good amount of lockdown. There's, of course, the Muradin you always have to be very, very wary of. And then Johanna Tyrande, if they can land and really predict how that Condemn is going to move somebody, they can easily land a couple of stuns on that as well and have the Jaina pop up anywhere and all of a sudden, or sorry, yeah, the Jaina pop up anywhere and all of a sudden somebody's going to be dead. So we'll see just how much roaming. I feel like it's going to be a little bit in Complexity's favor.
All right, well, we'll have to see, because Complexity is actually here on the right-hand side. No, they're not. Never mind. That's Tiger JK, and he's not part of Complexity. It's Complexity on the left-hand side, because I'm just that good. Hans, Caterpillar, McIntyre, Blinks, and Trummel. And Trummel is so far going to be manning it top solo.
And on the right-hand side, Pool Plato, some tangos. We have Apollo, B-Kid, Tiger JK, Prismaticism. I'm going to get that name right, I swear. And King Plato himself.
On the Sylvanas. Now, a little bit of a tidbit. Some of these players did play in Dorm. And some of them, as we said, have been in some of the previous games out there as well. Did make it to the June qualifying top 8 double elimination. We'll have to see if they can put up a win against one of the rising stars of NA.
Well, of course, it's very, very difficult to go against somebody like Complexity. We were talking about this before, but if anybody can do it, it's going to be one of those teams that got into the round of 8 last June Open. Let's see if they've shown a little bit of improvement after that, though.
Look at Trouble.
Getting in a little bit of trouble here, and he's going to get knocked out. First blood of the game going on over there to full play to some tables. Oh my god, Prismaticism, the block of the Owl by the last second by B-Kid. Very, very good teamwork there.
Yeah, Hedwig's delivery was intercepted. King Plato actually did come up. He was minding mid. Caterpillar was just going to give him a little bit of a love tap there. But why does Trummel like to play the Vikings? Because he's triple trouble Trummel.
Oh, alliteration. It's so great. Blinks getting taken out in not so much of a blink of a second. In fact, he's actually going to be able to disengage here.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to take down a self-healer this early on, especially with no big damage. Like that was a ambush with King Plato. Not exactly the biggest burst here in the early levels. And speaking of early levels, what do we got for level 1 talents, Kev? Well, Reconstitution once more for Trummel. We'll have to see if it will be that creep hill that we saw in last round. And Scouting Drone from Malfurion.
Yeah, Scouting Drone is absolutely pivotal for making sure that you can keep track of when your opponent is going to be handing in those gems. Delaying and denying those gems is so incredibly important on this map because it allows you to have the chance to turn them in just as much, and there's 2 places to turn in, so you always have to be wary of where your opponent's trying to turn them in. Meanwhile, level 4 just on the cusp for both of these teams, and it looks like it's going to go a little bit in favor of Complexity, but not too far behind is going to be Full Play to some Tangos picking up their level 4 as well.
All right, Envenom Spines will actually come out there with the Envenom there as well from the Jaina. So a little bit of extra burst out of Jaina. Well, though, does Envenom count as burst anymore these days? It's more of just a long, drawn-out damage at this point.
Yeah, I think it would be considered sustained damage now. It used to be bursty, but 10 seconds, I think that's definitely sustained damage.
Fair. Okay. Yeah. We also have the Pharaoh Heart and Protective Shield from Archiranda here as well. Blink's not looking so healthy, but he's not going to get hit by those roots. Just a bit too fast. B-Kid is able to dunk down some of those spider butts, and Caterpillar is going to find himself in a 1-on-2, but it's Johanna, so she's going to be A-okay.
Yeah, Johanna just running on straight on into the middle of the 2 of them without any second thought at all. Caterpillar, of course, with the iron skin, is able to be unstoppable, and he can just walk straight through those crowd controls.
And Plato does it a little bit of a turn-in as well, so we're pretty much neck and neck when it comes to the gems, and not really a lot of big shot stuff going on. It's just kind of everyone just rotating a little bit and soaking as best they can.
Yeah, it looks like there might be a slight jump on King Plato. No, they're just gonna roam around as 4, be scary, kind of intimidate their opponents and keep them locked up behind their gate. It's actually a very strong strategy because if you keep your opponents on the defensive, you get more gem turn-ins. However, Trummel in a lot of trouble yet again. I'm going to keep using that one today. And it looks like he's going to go down. That's 14 gems on his side. Oh, man. Yeah, he does take a good amount of damage. He's going to go down. But luckily, McIntyre was able to pick up the gems.
And at the same time, Caterpillar and Hans on the other side of the map are able to pick up some nice early mercenaries. But again, they have to go through King Plato. So other than just a little bit of an annoyance, it's not really going to amount to much. The rest of everyone comes up, but it's not enough to stop the Red Web Weavers from coming down and descending. A little bit of a level lead by 2 kills 0 at the 4.5-minute mark.
You know, Complexity was playing such an aggressive style to lock them behind their gates, but unfortunately, losing Trummel in the top lane had to force them to stop being so aggressive and play a little bit more defensive. That window was all Plato some Tangos needed in order to pick up these Red Web Weavers. And now that they've got this, having Sylvanas in the bot lane, they should be able to do a great amount of damage to these towers.
Yeah, especially if they do nurture the push out here from King Plato, because he will be able to disable those towers, and already one of them's about to melt. Mid got cleaned up post-haste, and at the same time, Trummel, he's dealing with Apollo, but Apollo can't exactly shield that, so by the end of it, it'll be, what, a tower for their trouble.
A tower for their trouble?
Yeah, but Trummel's not in trouble today.
Not right now, but because Trommel went out, it was allowed them to get that gem. There we go. See?
There we go. All right.
That's all Trommel was able to do. That death allowed for one tower to go down.
One tower. Not exactly the most damage that we've seen from the turn in, especially early on, but King Plato is also just going to get chased away here by Blinks. Could the creeps finish it off? I think they might. Yeah, they will. So by the end of it, we'll give them a credit of 2, but at the same time, you know, everybody did back off, especially here from the from the Pool Plato side. They will pick up their bruisers, so that will be a little bit of more of a defensive option mid, but at the same time, the blue web weavers are now going to be coming into the field.
Yeah, and that's going to allow them to really even up the experience. A great timing for that as well, as long as they can even up the experience just a little bit better than they currently were at, because level 10 is just so close for both these teams. And this is a great time to start leveling and equalizing that playing field, because if you are a little bit behind that level 10 of your opponent, it's going to be absolutely devastating to your map presence.
No, they're looking for B-Kid.
Great.
Into the top. B-Kid a little bit overextended, but he is the Mirrodin, and at the same time, nobody really able to do much about it. Looks like we did pick up one tower here mid, and that might be actually the extent of everything. B-Kid again gonna get caught, but has the dwarf toss ready to go. Roots do go on to Caterpillar, and by the end of it all, 10 now here for the Pool Plato. So everyone's just gonna take a little bit of a break here from the complexity as they regroup.
And yeah, having that level 10, look, you can immediately see them all hiding out behind their gates, and already Pool Plato some Tangos taking advantage of this map pressure. Gonna go in on the mid towers and doing so much damage. They're gonna be able to take out both of those easily.
Yeah, that's the advantages afforded to you by having that extra button to press. Blinks, however, was in the bottom lane. It was soaking a good bit, so now we have actually evened the playing field. What kind of heroics do we have on the board, Kev?
Nothing too crazy. We have the Starfall yet again. Great thing we're not going to miss any Immortals going down to it today.
Yeah, not this time.
Devouring Maw, Water Elemental, and then Blessed Shield on the Johanna, which is just going to allow them to do so much crowd control with a good amount of members on the enemy team very quickly. It's a great talent. There it is. Wow, talk about that timing. Going on the Malfurion as well, a good target because he's the one who has the cleanse. He does cleanse himself to disengage. The Maw does go down. Looks like Complexity was trying to go in on Prismaticism. Not going to happen, though, as Hans goes down on their side. Meanwhile, B-Kid being very aggressive on Caterpillar, and King Plato himself going straight in on McIntyre. Not going to actually be able to land too much, though. The Iron Skin going to save, the Johanna for a little bit longer. Blink's taking so much damage. He's going to go down.
B-Kid was juggling his hit points there very well. In, out, got off an attack, got off a Stormbolt, got off a Thunderclap, and by the end of it, 2 kills, 2 kills nil. It is 4 kills overall going the way of Pool Plato, and they have maintained this experience lead because of some of those earlier ganks on top of Trommel into the top, and now with that pressure mid, as you said, you know, they took out those maps, they took a fight, there is no retreat path there available for Complexity, and I gotta say, they're bringing their A-game.
Yeah, they definitely are. They are definitely showing a new version of Pool Plato some Tangos. They did actually pretty well in the last week. I have to take a look at a couple of the replays, but they were all published, so that is up, I believe, on some website somewhere. You can go check out those replays. I believe you can follow my Twitter and you'll see them. But yeah, Pool Plato is definitely coming in very well. They've been, like, over the last week, they've definitely shown a new color.
Well, we'll have to see how far they can go in the July qualifiers next weekend as well. But level 13 is about to be on board here. And that is going to probably lead us into even more aggression, especially with these web weavers pushing all 3 lanes.
Yeah, the web weavers are doing a good amount of work this time. They actually did a good amount of damage on that bottom, but the top lane is still under contest. Looks like they will finally be pushed back. Level 13 talents just about to come in on for the Pool Platos.
And they don't have it quite yet. Mid-web weavers did take about half of that fort. We have no mules on the table. Duranda, not there. Malfurion, nope. Tassadar, not even. And so that damage, man, it's starting to really show. Bottom lane a little bit worse for wear. Mid definitely not looking so great. And, you know, with that disengage, Pool Plato, again, they should be able to finish this off.
Yeah, this is not going to be an issue for them. Look, King Plato already using the Black Arrows of Sylvanas to block out the fort's ability to defend itself. And yeah, they just disengage. They're like, you know, we picked up the fort. Let's just back up.
Yep, they know they have that advantage. Even if complexity chases into this, it's probably not going to go the complexity's way because of those talents. I mean, look at the Mirrodin. He's going to come in, Thunderstrike, not a problem. Flamethrower is there, Prescience. Good luck taking down anybody very quickly here from Pool Plato.
And with the spell shield as well and the Sylvanas, she's so afraid of Hans's damage, and I don't blame her at all. Trouble taking a little bit of damage here. It looks like both these teams are just posturing to do the bot lane fight. There is actually a dimensional shift to try and dodge out everything there from Apollo. Keep in mind, he also picked up deep shift as well, so he's going to be able to dimensional shift for so long.
Yeah, full race car and mental acuity, and he's been using that mental acuity quite a bit to try to clean up some of this creep tumors. And so far they have managed to control the creep a good bit. Caterpillar with this soak should be level 13, and now once again we're on that same talent tier. What do we got? Healing Surge, Mutalisks, a little bit of pressure landing on top of Blinks and McIntyre. McIntyre actually immediately sprints away to safety.
Yeah, he has to make sure that he doesn't spend that sprint in too early, or he's going to be left vulnerable for quite some time. It's got a little bit of a cooldown on it.
Yeah, or too late. So yeah, with that cooldown, sure, it's a little bit things to keep in mind. Wow, nice lockup there on top of Malframe. Doesn't even ice block. Does not pop the Trank, does not ice block. That is going to be it for this fight. Beacon's going to try to run to safety, but he's already used the Dwarf Toss. He could actually still go down.
Yeah, the Dwarf Toss unfortunately did not actually net him too much distance between him and his opponents. His opponents were just chasing him down so quickly. And with the turn-in as well, Complexity is going to be able to take a good chunk of damage out on this fort. I don't know if it's going to be... Yeah, it's going to be...
Oh, that fort's gone.
Yeah, it's a gone fort in the mid. The bot lane, though, getting held off there by King Plato.
Yeah, someone called Liam Neeson because that fort was taken. Look what you do to me! You're rubbing off on me in the wrong ways.
Phrasing. Anyway, so...
I don't want to think about phrasing on that one. We did have King Plato pushing bottom. Now he's here top. Do you think this is a fight they can take?
I don't know about this. It is 15 to just about 15. There's the Wailing Arrow hitting 4 members, but they don't really collapse on them immediately. The Ancestral still going up there on Hans. Caterpillar being a very good zoning potential out here for Complexity. It looks like they just have to back off. Doesn't look like there's that much they can do here.
Oh, look at the fort. The top fort is such low-hanging fruit. Is Caterpillar actually going to re-engage, or are they YOLOing for this fort?
156 damage on that, and that gets you just a little bit closer to 16. It's not a bad idea.
Roaches. Nope.
No, right now they're just making sure they get another turn in, and that is something that's easily done for them.
Yep. And that is 4. We're 4 off. Who didn't turn in? Oh, Caterpillar.
Caterpillar's got so many.
Damn, there we go. That is a for sure gone for it into the top. Looks like some bruisers going to get picked up here for Pool Plato. That's going to be some good defensive maneuvers here mid. Arguably, though, Complexity coming back into this match extremely well. Now, he finally put some kills up on the board. They're about to hit 16, and with this next push, you can guarantee some, towers. There goes the fort. Some big damage is about to be coming our way.
Yeah, well, with 16, of course, we're going to have Kill Toss with the Flamethrower and Ignite build, and that's going to be the really difficult spot here for Complexity. They have to make sure they don't group together, because those Ignites do so much damage. Caterpillar already getting chunked pretty decently by that already. Taking a look at Prismaticism, he's got 3 stacks of Gathering Power, so he can wail away at the opponents from so far and whittle them away slowly.
Experience lead is now going to go over to Complexity. Bottom did get cleaned up, but still the remnants of it will take a few of those towers. Top Keep Gate is also now being under siege by this next Web Weaver. And then we'll actually take him another tower there, as well as the mid got cleaned up. And, immediately, the space is created. Pool Plato had to go top. Complexity is going to take advantage of bottom, and that is going to be putting them at almost a full level lead.
Oh no, PPSD, don't do this. This map isn't big enough to think that they're bot lane. You can go for this. Yeah, they back up. Very, very smart decision. They were going for the boss, but on this map, even if you see your opponents in bot lane, it does not take long for them to get back up at the top.
Is Caterpillar thinking of it here? And that's going to be a stun there on top of B-Kid. Condemn is going to be enough to keep him interested. B-Kid is now actually going to be the one re-engaging.
Yeah, does miss the Stormbolt, however. Scary. Very, very scary moment right now. They were both looking for a fight, but neither of them felt too comfortable with it. So they're just going to back up, wait for a little bit later. 17 and a half here for Complexity. 16 and 3/4 here for Full Play to some Tangos. So that level 20, that's the next big one. Both these teams have to play so careful at this point. That's why you saw them just both back up. They don't want to just completely get wiped and then let the enemy team get a huge level 20 advantage.
Teams don't seem to really know where they want to be going at this point. You are right, the next milestone is going to be level 20, and so far, pulling ahead and taking the lead, Complexity is favored to hit it first. It's going to come down to Full Plato to get a really sweet engage with that Candy Cane Mirrodin.
I was just noticing that as well. He's got the chocolate skin on, not the green skin that most players play with.
It's all about color coordination, my friend.
Of course, of course. Caterpillar coming on in there, blinding everybody. Some optometrist just got happy.
B-Kid's going to be taking the brunt of it, but with that second wind and the heals from Tiger JK, it's not really going to be the end-all here. If we do re-engage, B-Kid's got to be very aware that he does not really have the hit points to spare at this point.
Yes, and with Tranquility, it's very nice sustain damage, but what Complexity is toting, which is a lot of burst damage, it's a lot to deal with. Popping the Avatar has to be on point, and you can't pop it too early or the enemy will just disengage.
So we have 55 gems here for Complexity. They do got the map positioning for a turn-in. They don't have the gems for a turn-in. They're still off by about 7 or so. So at this point, it's just, you know, clean up top, clean up mid. They could easily dunk down. I don't foresee them going for a boss anymore now that the Mercs actually despawn immediately on turn-in. It's very hard to get that kind of, you know, duality working in your favor. But B-Kid and crew, charging forward, they're looking for something.
Oh, they might be able to pick up McIntyre. No, they are unable to. They might just have to disengage. There's the Avatar pop. Is Complexity going to disengage? In fact, it looks like Fool is going to disengage for a couple seconds there.
B-Kid in the third wind, he's already popped that out. Caterpillar's looking for those stuns. Big stuns on top of the Tyrande. She does not have that sprint. Maw into the back, though. It's going to keep Full Plato at bay. B-Kid is going to live to see another day, at least for now. He has not landed these stuns, Kev.
Yeah, but you know, it was another big stun that was missed in that last engagement was the Storm Shield, sorry, the Blessed Shield coming out there from the Johanna. Went right in between the entire team and hit nobody. And that was why I think Pool was so incredibly considering keeping on that engagement. Unfortunately, they realized that they just weren't landing those stuns, so they did have to back up for a couple seconds. Everybody popping all their heroics.
Yeah, every single one of them, except that Phoenix, because it doesn't really count, is down.
Well, I was about to say, Phoenix was used, but...
Yep. But it has
before
such
you blink an eye, it's back up again.
Yeah, it's a very low cooldown. A lot of damage being soaked up by B-Kid, by Johanna, and you know, we've had heals, we've had cleanses, a lot of quick saves here. But again, map positioning is once more favoring Complexity. So they have 25 gems left. That's enough for a turn-in. Looks like Hans, Trummel, and McIntyre are going to be dunking down, and that should be a turn-in.
Yeah, they're going to get the turn-in just in time. Fool was looking for that turn-in. Apollo's got so many gems on him, but unfortunately that's just not going to work out. Wow, look at the damage on Trummel from that one Flame Strike.
It's the level 16 Kael'thas dream, my friend. Experience is basically neck and neck. As soon as we pop 19 here, it's not really that different between the teams. And that it still could go either way for this. I mean, we don't have a significant amount of siege damage done. There's not a lot of kills on the board. There's not big advantages either way. Do we have all the heroics up? We do. This would be the big time to fight before that 20 advantage goes one way or the other.
Yeah, but you have to keep in mind that the Web Weavers do a good amount of AoE damage. They have a little channel that turns into a giant wave of energy that does actually do pretty decent damage to anything standing in its path. Oh, Hans taking another big Flame Strike. This is a great way. Just wait and whittle your opponent's way with those Flame Strikes.
It's a really annoying strategy, but a good one. Nonetheless, B-Kid so low. Does not even look like an Owl is going to be able to deliver the final blow, but still, B-Kid has been juggling his hit points very dangerously.
Yeah, and you know what's also keep in mind here is that he didn't pop Avatar. That was a very scary moment. He could have easily popped Avatar very preemptively to stay alive. Oh, but the Sylvanas is going to go down. That's a huge win here.
The CZ train is real.
I don't know if there's going to be a full engage here from Complexity. I don't think they can actually go for it. B-Kid taking a huge amount of damage as well. He did pop his Avatar to stay alive for a little bit longer.
Just got to dance around that Kale fast, and so far, I mean, that's another one gone that only hit Caterpillar. The gate is gone, Sylvanas is out. We still have all the heroics ready to go on the side of the pool. Plato, some tankers except that Avatar, and B-Kid nowhere to be found right now. Oh, there he is. Sorry, I kind of thought I saw Tiger JK back up there. Nope, Tiger JK nowhere to be found, so the defense is going to hold, but can they hold for another wave? I don't think they can.
I don't know about this. They do throw the shield down there, trying to keep that keep alive for just a little bit longer. That keep, of course, is so pivotal. Because losing that...
Oh my god, the blessed shield was so good. The condemn as well. Tiger JK has to throw out that tranquility. It's going to keep B-Kid and Apollo going. The Starfall is down. Level 20 is here, though, Kev.
Yeah, the 20 is huge. They've got all 5 people here, but they are very low on mana. They can't sustain through another huge team fight. There's Apollo trying to get a huge engagement. Going to use the body block on Hans. That's going to be 1 kill there. This is going to be a second on Blinks. They're trying to go for it. There's the gravity lapse. There's Blinks going down as well. Now they're trying to chase after the Johanna, but as we all know, Johanna is almost impossible to kill. The roots, though, coming in there from Tiger JK are absolutely amazing.
Even without that Sylvanas, the defense holds. As soon as that Tranquility popped, there was, as you said, just not enough in the bank here for Complexity. This is a massive turnaround, and already that fort is down. They're going to continue pushing on. They could actually take a keep here.
They've got 50 seconds before Johanna's back up. This could be the keep. They've got Sylvanas with them. That allows them to knock out the ability for these structures to defend themselves, and that's a lot of damage to mitigate.
B-Kid is going to take a few tower shots there, but we also have the red web weavers now coming in. Bottom is going to be pushed all the way up to the keep. Mid and top, not so much. In fact, top is actually now acting as the defensive measure. We got a Maw there. It is actually going to find Apollo. It's not going to be quite the kill that you're looking for, and the counter keep is good to go, Kev.
They pick up a keep, and they now have to just disengage. Those lunar flares are absolutely wrecking them, though. Look at how low all their healths are. Going in for those rotations during that keep fight, that was really pivotal to make sure that nobody who's too low was too far forward, and they did a very good job of that. They will pick up that keep, and that's going to allow them to just equalize a little bit better right now. In fact, actually, that takes them into a pretty good lead.
It absolutely does. Level 21-20. At this point, the level's less important, but at the same time, it's base stats, base ability damage, and gains is all that you're going to be getting out of it. But still, hey, an advantage is an advantage going either way. Everybody basically went home, hit that sippy cup, and now they're catching Caterpillar a little unawares. That is not where you want to be, sir. Caterpillar will get that Ancestral. No indestructible yet, Kev.
But a huge amount of AoE does go down. Wow, the Wailing Arrow is absolutely on point. And it looks like Blink's now going to get caught yet again. McIntyre trying to disengage here. That was a huge pickup to get Johanna. She used the Iron Skin to try and disengage, but it just did not work out. Trouble. Oh, using the bolt to get out of there. They might go for core.
So, Johanna doesn't have indestructible.
She doesn't?
She has Storm Shield.
Oh.
So, my first thought was Wailing Arrow, silenced it, didn't proc because of silence. Second thought is, did she even take it? She has Storm Shield. I don't know if that's a misclick or what, but it could have been the game changer right then and there, because now we're going on top of this core, and Pool Plato some tangles on a 5v3 offensive. You see that Phoenix down. We do actually have that Maw. We're going to have to throw it out here, Trummel, sometime today if you want to hold, and he is just holding on to it. Finally, it's going to go down, but is this too little too late, Kev?
I don't know. They both have very low health. In fact, this might have been over to... Yeah, that Maw was absolutely on point. Apollo trying to disengage, 18% on the core. Just a little bit too ham, and they will pick up Apollo as well. That means that they have no gems on their side. They have to farm up 65 again. But a bigger problem, 5 people up. They've got 38 seconds before their next hero is back up here.
Are we actually going to take the time to turn? No, we have 23 gems. They're going to go for the low fort and into the clear. 30 seconds on average, 45 for that Tassadar, and Pool Plato, some Tangles, even with catapults, are not going to be able to do anything up against this core. Keep is now down. Tremel, Hans, and Blinks leading the way. The rest of Complexity coming in, and I don't think Pool Plato, some Tangles will be able to hold, and this will be the win for Complexity. Game number 1 of the best of 3 finals here for the ESL Go4Heroes number 30.
Look at how fast that core absolutely dropped when you've got so many members on the core and nobody defending. Oh my god, Complexity. Ooh, what a match.
Grasping victory from the Maw of Defeat. I gotta give that Devouring Maw an A+ on that one.
That was an A+ pun as well. Wow, man, you were just knocking them down.
I don't know if I want to continue our friendship.
They definitely zerged the core after that huge maw, and that was a very, very good call. Yeah, see, this is what happens. This is what happens.
All good, my friend. All good. Still, what a ridiculously good first game.
That was more than I could definitely ask for. I thought Pool Plato some Tangos was going up against Complexity. I was like, Complexity's probably going to just 2-0 this, no problem. But that was a very, very close first game. However, we've got a game number 2 coming up very shortly. I'm seeing if Pool Plato some Tangos can even up this best of 3.
Well, you said 2-0 quickly. Quickly might not be the right adjective. That was a 26-minute game back and forth struggle, coming down to 13% by the end of it. But at the same time, Complexity will go for a 1. They could still 2-0 this. It's all up to Pool Plato and this next map in order to make this work in their favor.